In this video, we'll talk about campaign budget optimization and how to structure campaigns using CBO or campaign budget optimization. So let's jump back. And if you remember our standard model, we had different campaigns with different objectives, and then we were setting the budget at the ad set level, and then it was distributed through the different ads. Now, campaign budget optimization is different because when we use campaign budget optimization, I'll show you what happens right now. If we select campaign budget optimization, we can set a budget at the campaign level. So that would mean that we can create multiple audiences and multiple ads and set a primary objective for the campaign or different objectives for the different ad sets, and then Facebook is going to try and get us the maximum result possible out of those campaigns. Now, that has a lot of implications. So let's call that CBO conversions. Right? Because this is a campaign budget optimization campaign and its primary objective is conversions. That's why we gave it that name. And let's say we're going to give it $100 worth of budget, and we are going to ignore these advanced functionalities for now. And now we want to create an ad set, and we are going to choose again our purchase event. And let's say this one will be we need to name it a little bit. So this one will be 1865. We will ignore the targeting options right now and just target by age just to make it simpler. So this one is 8065 plus and its purchases. So that's a what we would call a cold audience. And then we need to create an ad just for the sake of it, and just use the same text over and over again. Don't really care about these things right now. And now we have an ad in this ad set. So we have our CBO campaign. It has one 18 to 65 purchases ad set and one add to cart remarketing, which we can remove right now. We don't need that here. And we have our one ad. It has errors. We don't care about this right now. Now, if we were to duplicate that ad, just like before, make it into 4 ads, and we'll use our imagination and say that these 4 ads are different. Now, if we leave just one ad set, that would be just like creating a standard campaign, and that ad set will get all the $100 and they will be distributed throughout these 4 ads. Right? Makes sense. Now, if we, however, duplicate this one, and let's say we're going to make 4 copies of it, and we have 5 different audiences now. Logic would dictate that all of them would get roughly $20. No. What's going to happen is that the ad sets that get the most conversions will get the most budget, right? We are optimizing. Our main primary objective is conversions, and we want Facebook to distribute our budget appropriately to figure out how we are going to get the most conversions. Now, this has a lot of important implications. So first of all, if we keep the objective or the conversion event of all the ad sets the same, that means that Facebook is going to test all these different audiences and all these different ads in them, and it's going to distribute the budget between 20 ads and 5 different audiences, which, by the way, if you get $100 and divide it by the 20 ads, you would see that that's not much, and it would take some time for this to get enough information to start optimizing. This is why when using campaign budget optimization, you should try to keep the ad set number low, not very high, because then all the budget is going to get distributed automatically by Facebook, and then you would end up either being short on budget or testing too much stuff at the same time, and it's not going to get you good results. That's why it's often a good practice to either use the same ads and test the ad sets, or just have a few different audiences. Now, important implications that we need to know about. If we keep the purchase event the same, then what Facebook is going to do, and the audiences, it could be different audiences. So this could be women, this could be men, this could be any different targeting options on the ad set level, and that's fine. And we could be using the same ads or different ads. Let's say, for example, that we use the same ads first. Now we have different audiences, same ads. What Facebook is going to try and do is get us the most purchases for all these different audiences and all these different ads. And so out of the 20, basically one ad is going to end up with the best result and one is going to end up with the worst result. And so Facebook is going to try and give more budget to that ad set and that ad itself, the very ad, right? We have more budget to the ad set, more budget to the ad because it gets more purchases. Now, what would happen if you set a different conversion event over here? So let's say I want to set not a purchase event, but I want to set an add to cart. There it is. So now this campaign is add to cart. Let's ignore the casing for now. So now what's probably going to happen is, because add to carts are easier to get, right? We need to definitely have someone add to cart something before they purchase, right? So we are going to get more add to carts than purchases, and Facebook is going to optimize for the most conversions. And so what's going to happen is this ad set is going to take more of the budget, right? So we still need to keep the same, and that could sometimes be fine, right? If we want to have, that's not bad. I kind of made it sound bad, but it's not. And let me tell you why. Because you want to get more add to carts, and that would eventually lead to more purchases. So you could either have them the same, which is what some people do, and then some people also create different audiences that are kind of sequential. So you would have your cold audience, one or two cold audiences, let's say that would be women and men. And then once they come to your website and start doing something, you could have a website visitors audience and then a lookalike audience to that, like people who are similar to those who visited your website, so a little bit more of a warmer audience. And then you could have another campaign that is focusing on purchases, right? So you could have one of these first campaigns. They could be focusing on people just taking a look at a product, and then you could have as a second stage add to carts and then purchases. Now, that generally does not yield good results, especially if you're selling, you know, some cheaper kind of products. So if you're selling something like under $100, it's better to just go for purchases. But if you are going for something that's more complicated, you would need to break that up and go with that different kind of structure. So within the campaign budget optimization, you have two approaches. One is the more standard and generally worse approach, which is to have all the ad sets with the same objective. And this is just using Facebook's algorithm to test which audiences and which ads are the best, going with the same objectives. And if that's what you want to do, that's completely fine. What some people do as the known as the best CBO strategy is to have different audiences within one campaign, and they could also be using the same objective, by the way. And that's the generally considered the best strategy. Same objective, different audiences, and you have one or two cold audiences, one or two warm audiences, you know, people who you know a little bit more about, who have been to your website, maybe added something to cart, and then one total remarketing audience that would be just focused at finishing your purchases. And this is how you can create sequential ads. And what Facebook is going to try and do is use a combination of those ads and then try and get you the most purchases, because you have only one objective that you're optimizing for, which is the purchases. And so then Facebook will automatically adjust the budget of your remarketing campaign and your cold audiences and your warm audiences and your different audiences in general to get you the most purchases. Now, you could also do the other strategy, the third type of strategy, where you could have different audiences, different objectives, and different ads, and then that's just a mess. And I don't really know of a good use for that, because what generally ends up happening is the audiences that have more like easier conversions are the ones that get most of the budget, and you get you end up with a bunch of add to carts and less purchases than normal. That's what generally happens. So that's what campaign budget optimization does, and you could be using it to test your different ads. There's a few things to consider. First of all, don't go for too many ad sets, because the budget is going to be distributed between those. And also, don't go for too many ads within an ad set, because then after it has been distributed to the ad set, it has to be distributed between the ads. So if you distribute a budget of $100 between 20 ads, that's fine. Between 50 ads, now that's already $2 per day, and it might be not enough for all the ads to get sufficient budget, and you're going to have to wait a long time until you get some results that you can understand, analyze, and get something out of, right? And your optimization is not going to kick in quickly, because all of your ads are going to have small amounts of data, and then Facebook is not really going to know what's happening, and it's not going to accumulate data quickly enough, which is what's called the learning period. The learning period is just going to be take forever, and you're going to end up with getting your results a lot slower, and you're going to spend a lot more money until you get there. So that's why when using CBO campaigns, what's generally recommended is to use the same target event. That would be the same objective for the campaigns, and use different audiences, but those different audiences should have their own meaning. So generally, you use one or two cold audiences, one or two warm audiences, and a remarketing audience together. So you could use, for example, a lookalike audience and remarketing audience for your website visitors, and let's say 3 cold audiences, or maybe 2 cold audiences and 1 audience of the people who liked your Facebook page or saw your posts and some kind of had some interaction with your website or your business in any way, guys that you have data for. So as you can see, this creates a bit of a difference between the standard way of doing things, which Facebook did say that will go away and everything will work with the campaign budget optimization option. They haven't done that so far, and we are not sure they're going to do it, but they said that they will. So eventually, I hope they don't, but we'll see what happens. And so sometimes you can control your budget at the campaign level, and sometimes you can be controlling your budget at the ad set level, meaning that you can think of clever audiences and just optimizing for audiences at this stage. And this is pretty much everything that you need to know for the differences in campaign structure between campaign budget optimization and the standard Facebook campaign structure. And next we're going to cover some more advanced features that you can use as well when you're using campaign budget optimization.